So for many years when I've been making author websites, I make something similar to this. I'll show you a couple examples. Oops. And I'm not saying these are amazing author websites. I'm just saying this is what I make because I think they're safe. Randall has a pretty good one. So this is mine. It doesn't look that good, but basically it's just there's a little menu. There's a clean sidebar. I have a lot of pictures. It's an okay site. Mainly, it's loading fast and it has a lot of content. So if I have enough of the right kind of content, I could get more traffic and start building a list. Um, it doesn't mean that it's the best choice. There are other choices that may allow you to have a nicer looking website. Whoops, that's not the right Randall Woods. This is one that I made for Randall. Oh, that's funny. It's unavailable. This is the other one I made that was kind of just an example of an author website. And so this just has example pages. It's clean, it's simple. There's some options on the sidebar. A lot of authors will think, well, this is just too simple and I want something better. But there's a danger when you try to go graphic heavy is you throw in a whole bunch of pictures and text and images that all clash and don't fit well together and distract from your book cover. You want your book cover and the offer and you want the email opt-in sign up to be the most powerful things on your website. You don't want a whole bunch of other graphics and images and a big fancy logo to distract. And it's difficult. Like if you don't have design skills, even making a header up here is difficult. So you'll see a lot of author websites with really ugly website headers. It'd be safer just to use a simple text graphic, which is what I usually make for my websites. I also have down below in this lesson, I'll give you this big picture I made. It's an infographic of a perfect author website. It's just kind of the pages and the information you need to have. Going minimal is simple because it'll load faster and it'll give them a lot of content. It's got to be responsive, which means your website should look good even on the iPhone. So if you have a website, that's the other problem with those really nice websites like the Dan Brown or the J.K. Rowling's website. If they're really big, graphic, heavy websites, they may look beautiful, but they may not look great on an iPad or an iPhone. Or if they do, then they'll just cost a lot more money. So it'd be better if you have a responsive, simple, minimal theme that works. And automatically responsive just means it automatically changes the format and the organization to match the smaller screen size. So that's something to keep in mind. You need a website that does that because something like 60% of all web traffic is done now through smartphones. So if you don't have a website that looks good on a smartphone, you're going to be losing a whole bunch of readers if they find your website and they don't stay because it doesn't look good. You've got to tell them what to do. These are kind of like easy wins for your author website. You can't just have a whole bunch of content. You can't just say, subscribe to my list for updates because nobody knows what that means and nobody's going to care about your updates if they don't know who you are and they don't know what you do and they don't like your writing. So you've got to give them a quick win by giving them something to read, giving them a good story, having a way for them to connect to you because they like you and your personality. That's the kind of stuff you need to build into your author website. And you can do that with just a few pages. We'll talk a little bit more about developing your author story later, but you want to have your excerpts. You want to have, I usually have read for free just so people can get right into the writing and then they can click and buy the book later. There, I may put something about Squarespace because Squarespace makes much better looking websites. So if you choose to use Squarespace, you can probably set up a website that has a lot of the same content that's also responsive and loads really quickly, but just looks really good. You can tell when someone made a website in Squarespace because it's better designed, it looks nicer. I don't use it for my sites, because I'm used to WordPress and I like WordPress. But if you're just starting out and you need to design a site from scratch and you don't have a site already, you should check out Squarespace because it is easier to use and it's more likely that you'll come up with a much better looking website if you use Squarespace than it would be with just WordPress. So I mean, you want to try them both out. WordPress might be a little bit harder to start using, but it will look better than, I mean, it depends on the theme you use. What most people do is they'll pick a theme that doesn't look good and then they'll add a whole bunch of images which don't look good. So you need just to kind of limit yourself and refuse to give in to your design temptations. What's next? Attract your readers. So I'm going to stop the video and we'll talk about attract your readers next.